one of those kind of quiet, unsung heroes in the targeted line. And perhaps it's because it's got that very descriptive KBU name to go with it. If you're not reading the profile sheet and other things, you may not realize that this is kidneys, bladder, and urinary. That's your KBU. So this is the urinary system support product. And it's a really well-designed product to help support multiple aspects of the urinary system. So let's kind of dive in and talk about it. As you already mentioned, this is part of the targeted line. Now let's start with a little bit of background so that we all kind of understand the basics of the urinary tract. It kind of all starts off with the size of your fist, maybe a little larger, and sit in your lower back. And as you may know, these are largely involved with filtering your blood and pulling out some of the toxins and metabolic wastes from just cellular processes throughout the body. And so they do that and concentrate that down into the form of urine. So made in the kidneys, the urine then passes through these little tubes called ureters all the way down into the bladder. And this is kind of a storage vessel of sorts for urine. Builds up in the bladder until it gets so much that it starts to irritate you, and suddenly you got to make a trip to the bathroom. So it all kind of stays in there. And the bladder is actually a fairly elastic organ there. It can stretch quite a bit and hold a fair amount, as some people probably have demonstrated to you in the past, but some have bigger bladders than others. And of course, a little bit of practice and you can stretch yours out a little bit too. Not that that's necessarily a good or a bad thing. So a couple slides here on the benefits of KBU. And you can see we're kind of talking about numerous aspects of the urinary system here. Everything from the bladder tone to the filtration process in the kidneys. And of course, fluid balance, which is one of the main functions of your kidneys. Couple extra here, talking about the urinary lining, mineral balance, and of course pH. Now we'll touch on all of these as we go through the ingredients here. I'm going to start off, of course, with the transfer factor trifactor blend. This is the immune support aspect of KBU and what you'll find in all of our targeted products. This is to kind of complement whatever your daily transfer factor might be. If you're looking at using the targeted products, they're meant to kind of, again, are targeted toward an individual structure or function on the body. In this case, we're talking urinary system health. But if you're looking at that, you probably also need a little additional immune support. And so all the targeted products contain just a little bit of transfer factor to kind of help complement the other ingredients in the formulas. Cranberry is probably the most well-known ingredient in KBU. I think most people have heard the benefits of cranberry and what, if you're having urinary issues, cranberry juice is often something that's recommended. One quick caveat to that, if you're going to go the cranberry juice route, get 100% cranberry juice, not a juice cocktail, which typically only contains about 10 to maybe 20% actual cranberry juice. Pure cranberry juice is a difficult juice to consume. It is quite sour. So if it's sweet, you're not getting the right stuff. You're also not getting enough of it to get a benefit. So a little side note, or you can get the concentrated extract that you find here in KBU. This is high in a thing called proanthocyanidin A. This, and as we talk about the next two ingredients, are components that aid with the lining of the urinary tract. So kind of think of this as, in a sense, kind of grease for your urinary tract. It coats the surfaces and those ureters and the kidneys and the bladder, kind of making them smooth. So it makes it difficult for anything to kind of get a foothold and stick to that urinary tract. Adding to the cranberry, in this case, we also have the blueberries and lingonberries, adding some more of those proanthocyanidins. Now, each of these berries has a slightly different mix of this class of compounds, and it makes a nice complementary mix or combination of these, so you're not relying solely on the cranberry for benefit, but they work well together in providing these compounds, which again aid in the lining of the urinary tract. Mannose is kind of a dual function ingredient here. One, again, it kind of helps coat those surfaces as well, so aiding with the urinary tract wall, the surfaces, but it also has some benefits in aiding the kidneys and being able to help filter out some of those fluids and maintain the fluid balance. So kind of two functions for that one. IP6 we listed here is kind of help maintain mineral balance and other things in the kidneys, and there's some additional benefits beyond that. Let's just say it also aids with smoothness, though not in urinary tract walls. So we'll leave it at that for now. You can figure out what that means on your own. Looking at a little bit of research, you'll answer that question pretty quickly. So the other one here, Chanca this Amazonian plant. We'll just quickly it's listed here for urine flow. And if you speak a little bit of Spanish, then you know that Chanca means stone breaker. That's a kind of a common name that's often goes by down in Central South America. And again, we'll just kind of leave it at that. Juniper berries, this is something that I think a fair number of people are familiar with the function here. This is a natural diuretic. So again, this is that urine flow thing, aiding the kidneys in being able to produce the urine in a decent quantity. Now, one kind of side note to this, you're not going to get enough of it through your gin in order to make it beneficial. So look to something like this where you're getting a nice extract to aid with that urine flow. Dandelion leaf, a little different than dandelion root. Very good plant for both things, but in this case, the leaf, like the juniper, has kind of a diuretic effect. Also has some other kind of nutritional benefits. Dandelion leaves are actually very nutrient-dense leaf. And in a lot of cultures around the world, it's actually a common food you'll see in your salad greens. So some good nutritional benefits there, as well as aiding with that fluid balance and urine flow in it. The Varuna, probably not a very well-known ingredient here. This one is specifically in there for bladder tone. Even though I mentioned the bladder is kind of an elastic, stretchy thing, it really is a muscle. And when it comes time to empty the bladder, it does these kind of rhythmic contractions, and that's what expels the urine out. So you do want to make sure you're having a good muscle tone with the bladder. That's a key function of the urinary system, and so it's supported here with the Varuna in KBU. Now, the last ones we're going to talk about, apple cider vinegar. Many people are familiar with this. It's been touted with a lot of benefits. Some of them are well supported, some not so much. But in terms of pH balance, that's one of the areas where apple cider vinegar has some really good research behind it, helping to maintain a healthy pH in the urine. To help complement that are these three ingredients, a couple bicarbonates and calcium carbonate. So these, apple cider vinegar is actually an acid. These are really kind of bases, so somewhat the opposite. However, when it comes to urinary pH, they actually work together to help improve that urinary pH and try and keep it actually higher up. So out of the acidic range, more into the neutral and basic range, which is associated with better health, at least a better measure, or a measure of better health, let's put it that way. So those four components all there to help maintain the pH balance of your urine. And again, a key aspect of maintaining urinary tract health. So that gives you a quick rundown on the ingredients and their functions and how it supports the different aspects of urinary health. This is one you're going to take 4 capsules a day. And it's probably best, if you can, to divide that up and take 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening, just to kind of spread things out so you're getting a more even coverage throughout the day. Those I frequently say, if you're only going to remember to take your pills once a day, then take all 4 at once. It's better to get them all in than to take half and miss the other half. So there you go. 4-Life Transfer Factor KBU, a great, maybe a little unsung hero of products that are hidden inside the targeted transfer factor line. So that will turn it back over to Nathan.